I want to bring in Michael Brown, former FEMA Director. Michael, you were in charge of FEMA during Katrina. Compare and contrast, please, the response from FEMA now to the response of FEMA then.
Well, I think the lessons have been learned, Stuart. They've learned that it's all about leadership at the state and local government. As long as state and local leaders understand what their responsibility is, because they're truly the first responders. So I think what we saw, particularly in Florida, is Governor Scott saying to the FEMA Director Brock Long and to the President, here's what we can do, and here's where we're going to need help. That's what was missing in Katrina. And so I think if you look at Harvey and you look at Irma, I think those lessons have finally been learned by government leaders, that at the state and local level, leadership is what counts. I think what hasn't been learned yet is that American citizens themselves still have a responsibility. So I would caution people that, I know that, Florida has evacuated so many people. They want to get back to Naples. They want to get back to Miami. They want to get back to all of their homes and businesses. But traditionally, and almost historically, we see that there are more deaths and more accidents and injuries after a storm than there is before, because you have down power lines, you have infrastructure that has been weakened, you have offices and homes that have been weakened. So I would caution people, I know you want to get home, but wait until you get the all clear to go back.
I hear that FEMA has stashed a lot of equipment and personnel throughout Florida, in various parts of Florida. They're just waiting for the roads to clear so they can go get at it and do the job. Now, is that accurate, or is that just sort of good publicity for FEMA?
No, that's actually accurate. And what I find fascinating, Stuart, is FEMA has been doing that since 1979. We always pre-deploy assets as close to the disaster point as we can, without those personnel and that equipment and those supplies becoming victims of the disaster itself. So even though we did that in Katrina, nobody wanted to talk about that because we were distracted by the Superdome. So they will move those supplies in even closer, but just like everybody else, you can't move those supplies in if a bridge or a highway is out. So they will have to be as patient as everybody else to move those things in. Some stuff can be airlifted, but most of the things have to be moved in across roads and highways.
Do you feel somewhat vindicated? You took the blame, or a lot of the blame, for Katrina. You did. And the world came down on you, Mike Brown. How do you feel now?
Well, it did, Stuart. And I got to tell you, what I find fascinating is watching this. People talk about the post-Katrina Reform Act. The things that Congress did post-Katrina were the things that I was saying inside the Department of Homeland Security that you needed to fix or that FEMA would fail. That these were the things you needed to do or FEMA would fail. So I think over the years, those lessons have been learned. And does it mean vindication for me? That doesn't really matter. What matters is that it works. It does what it's supposed to do, and I'll stand up and say hallelujah for that.
Well, it is, and the Dow is up 236 points. Mike Brown, thanks for joining us, sir. We appreciate it. Good
you
stuff.
bet, Stuart.